You think you can intimidate me?
We don't want trouble. Just cooperate.
I won't back down.
The moment Hana realized that her husband had just ordered her execution, she smiled. It was not because she was fearless or reckless. It was because, for the first time in a very long while, everything was unfolding exactly the way she had planned it. "Do it," Jae-min said calmly. He did not need to raise his voice to command attention. His authority alone was enough. The guards reacted immediately. They lifted their guns without hesitation and aimed directly at Hana. There was no warning, no delay, and certainly no mercy in their movements. The room instantly became heavy with tension, sharp enough to make anyone uneasy. Most people would have panicked in that situation. Most would have pleaded for their lives or collapsed under the pressure. Hana did none of those things. She stood completely still. She did not flinch, step back, or even blink. Deep down, she understood something that nobody else in that room realized. This was not truly an execution. It was a test, and she had been waiting for it ever since she entered his world. For the past 3 months, Hana had lived beside a man who trusted absolutely no one. Jae-min observed everything around him and questioned every detail. He was the kind of man who built power by destroying anyone capable of threatening him before they even had the chance. The entire city feared him, but very few people actually understood him. Hana was one of the rare exceptions. Slowly, she lifted her eyes and met his gaze without fear. Her expression remained calm, steady, and unreadable. "Should I be afraid?" she asked quietly. Silence filled the room. It was the kind of silence that exposed weakness and made people uncomfortable. However, there was no weakness in Hana's voice. Jae-min studied her carefully. He was no longer looking at her like a husband, or even like the head of an empire examining one of his people. He looked at her like she was a puzzle he could not solve. "Most people beg for their lives," he finally said. A faint smile appeared on Hana's lips, controlled and dangerous. "Most people do not understand what is really happening," she replied. After a brief pause, Jae-min stepped closer. Every movement he made was deliberate and calculated. "And what exactly do you think is happening?" he asked. Hana ignored the guns pointed at her and refused to acknowledge the guards surrounding them. Her attention never left him. "You are trying to see whether I will break," she answered calmly. The room became still. "Or whether I already have." That was the exact moment everything shifted. The change was subtle, almost impossible to notice, but it was there. For the first time since Hana entered his life, Jae-min hesitated. And Hana noticed immediately. She always noticed. "Lower your guns," he ordered. The guards obeyed at once, but the tension in the room did not disappear. Instead, it transformed into something even more dangerous. He was no longer testing her. Now he was thinking about her. And that was far worse. Hana slowly exhaled, not out of relief, but out of control. This exact moment was the one she had been carefully building toward since the day she married him. 3 months earlier, the city had watched Hana walk down the aisle as though she were stepping into a fairy tale. The wedding was extravagant, filled with power and wealth. Influential men who controlled entire industries lowered their voices and stepped aside the moment Jae-min entered the room. Nobody challenged him because nobody dared to. And standing beside him was Hana. Everyone said the same thing that night. They believed she was lucky. Lucky to have been chosen by such a powerful man. Lucky to have his protection. Lucky to belong to someone nobody could touch. But none of them knew the truth. Hana had not been chosen by Jae-min. She had chosen him. Every step she took during that wedding had been calculated. Every smile had been rehearsed, and every glance carefully measured. She had not entered that marriage blindly or foolishly. She had entered it with a plan. And that plan began long before the wedding. It started back when her world still made sense. Back when her family was still alive. Back before everything she loved was destroyed in a single night. What Hana remembered most was not the chaos or the fear. It was the silence afterward. The unbearable silence that lingers long after tragedy ends and changes a person forever. Buried deep inside that silence was one name. Jae-min. At the time, she did not know his face or recognize his voice. She only knew one thing. He was connected to what happened to her family. And for Hana, that was enough. So she became patient. She watched him from a distance and studied the empire he controlled. She learned the patterns of the people around him, the structure of his power, and the weaknesses hidden beneath it all. Hana understood that every empire, no matter how untouchable it appeared, had cracks somewhere inside it. All she needed was patience to find them. When she finally stepped into his world, she did not arrive as an enemy. She arrived as something far more dangerous. His wife. Back in the present, the distance between them suddenly felt smaller. Not physically, but mentally. "You are different," Jae-min said quietly. It was not a compliment. It was an observation. Hana tilted her head slightly. "So are you," she replied. Another silence followed, but this one carried meaning. Both of them understood something now that nobody else in the room could see. This marriage was never built on trust, loyalty, or love. It was a game, and they had both realized they were not playing on the same side. "Everyone leaves clues eventually," Jae-min said. Hana's expression remained unchanged. "Only if someone is searching for them," she answered. A dangerous curiosity flickered in his eyes. "And what exactly are you?" he asked. The question lingered heavily between them. It was not harmless, and they both knew it. Hana stepped closer, reducing the distance between them just enough to make everyone else uneasy. "Be careful," she said softly. Questions like that usually come with consequences. For a brief moment, nobody moved. Something fundamental had changed between them. The balance of power no longer rested where it once had, and both of them could feel it clearly. Hana held his gaze for a few seconds longer before finally turning away. She walked down the hallway without rushing and without fear. Every step she took was calm and certain. Jae-min did not stop her. He did not call her name or give another order. He simply watched her walk away. Because for the first time in many years, Kang Jae-min was no longer completely certain that he was the one in control. And that uncertainty marked the true beginning of everything. Gunshots suddenly echoed through the marble hallways, violent and sharp like thunder tearing through silence. Hana immediately pressed herself against the wall as her heart pounded against her chest. The metallic scent of blood mixed with fear spread heavily through the mansion. Hours earlier, the gates had already been sealed shut, turning the estate into a prison. Men ran through the corridors shouting orders while chaos erupted in every direction. Yet in the middle of all that panic, Hana saw him. Kang Jae-min walked calmly through the disaster as though none of it could touch him. His dark coat brushed against the marble floor while his sharp eyes scanned every corner with cold calculation. He remained completely unshaken. Most people would have frozen in terror. Hana did not. She had entered this world prepared for moments exactly like this, and she refused to let him, or anyone else, see fear in her eyes. Quickly, she slipped behind a marble column and spotted the first attacker attempting to move around Jae-min from the side. The man's hand trembled around his gun. Without wasting a second, Hana grabbed a heavy metal vase sitting nearby. With precise force, she hurled it directly at the attacker's wrist. The gunshot fired wildly into the ceiling instead. Screams instantly filled the hallway. Jae-min turned sharply, his deadly instincts reacting at once. But even he had failed to notice the second attacker hidden behind the staircase. Hana inhaled deeply as she calculated her next move. Hana caught a deep breath, calculating her next move. She had trained for moments like this her entire life. The realization hit her. Surviving tonight wasn't just about being careful. It was about taking control. Earlier that week, she had walked into this mansion, supposedly as a fragile bride, a pawn in a world ruled by fear. But she was anything but fragile. Every movement, every glance, every polite nod during the wedding had been deliberate. The guests had seen her as a scared young woman, someone to pity, someone to gossip about. They didn't know she had already memorized every camera, every guard rotation, every hidden exit. Every small detail counted, and she had cataloged them all in her mind. The wedding had been a show, a performance for the outside world. Jae-min had been there too, watching, observing, analyzing her reactions with a coldness that would make most crumble. When he finally spoke to her, his voice low and measured, there had been no warmth. "Do you know what kind of man you married?" he had asked, stepping closer, a hint of menace in his tone. Hana had met his gaze, steady, unblinking. His hand had reached toward her, intent sharp, and she had caught it without hesitation, her eyes never leaving his. "If you touch me again," she had whispered, the calmness in her voice belying the storm inside her, "you'll regret it." He had frozen, and for the first time, curiosity flickered across his eyes, subtle but undeniable. That small moment had shifted the balance. He didn't marry a victim. He married someone he had no idea how to read, someone who could survive the world he controlled. Now, as bullets ricocheted, Hana moved. Every motion was deliberate, every choice calculated. She was aware of the rising tension around her, of the men scrambling to protect their boss, and of the dangerous beauty of this chaos. It wasn't enough just to survive. She needed to ensure that every move she made strengthened her position, that Jae-min began to realize that she was not simply a passive presence in his life. Somewhere in the back of her mind, she noted that viewers watching this unfold, if this were a story on a screen, would be holding their breath right alongside her. They would wonder who would come out on top, who would falter, and who would rise above the fear that had filled every corner of this mansion for decades. And they would stay glued because every moment built on the last, every second charged with escalating tension, every whispered thought and deliberate action forming a complex dance of survival and strategy. The second attacker lunged, gun raised, eyes wide with panic, unprepared for the precision Hana exhibited. A metal rod, a simple decoration from a side table, flashed through the air and collided with his wrist. The gun misfired. The silence that followed was heavier than the noise before, filled with shock, awe, and a hint of admiration from those who recognized what had just happened. Hana's breath came steady, controlled. She had already assessed the consequences, already anticipated the next move. Meanwhile, Jae-min approached, his pace calm, unhurried, deadly in its own right. He observed her carefully, noting her calm demeanor, the way she had neutralized threats without anyone dying unnecessarily. He might have been the most dangerous man in Seoul, but Hana had never intended to destroy him in a single move. She was patient, measured, and strategic. And now, more than ever, he recognized that she was no ordinary bride. In a quieter moment between the chaos, Hana stepped back, allowing Jae-min to take the forefront as he neutralized the immediate threat. It was a game of perception and subtle control. She had to show capability without overplaying her hand, strength without arrogance. Every action was a statement. She was here to survive, to endure, to dominate the shadows quietly. As she moved through the hallway, recalibrating for the next potential attack, her mind flickered briefly to the wedding, to the initial moments when everyone had believed her fragile, scared, malleable. The shock value of her control tonight would only deepen their awe and fear. Jae-min would start to question his assumptions about her. He might even respect her ability, though he would never admit it openly. And then, as the adrenaline coursed, Hana noted the rhythm of the guards, the path of escape if it became necessary, and the precise timing to strike should she need to protect herself or manipulate the situation further. Each thought was deliberate, each breath measured, and as she glanced at Jae-min from a distance, noticing the subtle shift in his eyes, she smiled faintly, confident that this game of survival and dominance was only beginning. By the time the immediate chaos had subsided, Hana had already mapped her next moves, her mind weaving strategy from instinct and calculation. She understood fully that her entry into this world wasn't about being noticed by Jae-min or anyone else in the mansion. It was about demonstrating control, showing resilience, and creating a narrative in which she dictated the flow of events. Every action, from throwing a metal ornament to neutralize a threat to calmly observing the battlefield, built her legend inside the house. Jae-min's gaze lingered on her briefly, measuring, analyzing. He had faced dangerous people before, but she carried an aura that combined calculated intellect with unpredictability. This combination was dangerous, thrilling, and impossible to ignore. Hana allowed herself a faint, imperceptible nod, acknowledging the subtle power play she had begun and the shifts she had forced in the perception of those around her. The mansion, though quiet now, still hummed with tension. The guards moved silently, keeping to protocol, yet occasionally casting glances toward her, uncertain of what they had just witnessed. The staff, previously terrified, now looked on with a mix of awe and anxiety. Hana knew that this was the beginning of her influence, the first step in showing that she was more than a bride. They were all part of her unfolding story. The chaos of the hallway had barely settled when Hana heard footsteps approaching from the grand staircase. They weren't hurried, frantic, or panicked. They were deliberate. Calm. Calculated. Jae-min was moving closer, his presence alone shifting the atmosphere in the mansion. Hana felt a shiver of anticipation, not fear. She had prepared for this moment mentally for years, imagining what it would feel like to face the most dangerous man in Seoul without crumbling. Yet reality was sharper, harsher, more electric. "You handled that well," Jae-min said, his voice low, carrying both caution and curiosity. Most would have frozen. Hana didn't respond immediately. She only let her eyes follow him, unflinching, calculating every movement, every shift in expression. His gaze was intense, searching, trying to assess if her actions had been instinct or intention. "I didn't freeze because I don't intend to be a victim," she finally replied, calm but precise. "I survive. That's the only way anyone makes it here. He tilted his head slightly, considering her words. Bold, he murmured. And dangerous. Do you understand the world you've married into? She allowed a faint smirk. I understand it better than most. The tension between them was thick, silent yet charged. Each knew the other was measuring, analyzing, waiting for a crack, a sign of weakness. Hannah's heart was steady. She didn't allow it to betray her. The mansion itself seemed to lean into the anticipation. Shadows stretching long in the candlelight, the marble walls reflecting the glint in their eyes. Hours later, as the immediate threat outside subsided, Hannah moved to survey the mansion's security systems. The staff had resumed their positions, cautious and attentive, but now their eyes lingered on her with a mixture of respect and uncertainty. Every motion she made was deliberate, demonstrating competence without arrogance. She was building an aura of control, and Jae-min was watching. From the balcony, she observed the city lights below. The streets of Seoul stretched endlessly, but for her, the mansion felt like the epicenter of the world now. Every decision she made within these walls mattered. Every move had consequences, and she wasn't afraid to make them. Later that night, after the mansion had quieted, Jae-min entered her room. Hannah was already waiting, sitting on the edge of the bed, calm, poised. Do you always plan every move before you act? He asked, his voice low, measured. Only the ones that matter, she replied without hesitation. He studied her for a long moment, then let out a soft, almost imperceptible chuckle. Most people would have died tonight, he said. You didn't. That makes you intriguing. Hannah raised an eyebrow. Intriguing enough to survive tomorrow? His gaze sharpened, the first flicker of a smile touching the corner of his mouth. Perhaps, but surviving is only the beginning. Thriving requires more. The conversation hung in the air, filled with unspoken challenges. Both understood that this was not a game of words. It was a battle of wits, strategy, and control. Hannah's mind raced, planning for every possible scenario while maintaining the calm exterior that had become her armor. The next morning, a new challenge awaited. The mansion's dining hall was alive with tension, the air thick with unsaid threats and wary glances. Guests and staff alike moved carefully, aware of the previous night's chaos. Hannah observed them all, noting small shifts in behavior, subtle signs of fear and respect. Every glance, every whisper was data she could use. Your family owes a lot, Jae-min said quietly as they entered the room, his tone neutral but heavy with implication. And debts have consequences. Hannah met his gaze evenly. I understand. That's why I'm here. Not to be a pawn, but to ensure no mistakes are made. The statement hung in the air, and she could feel the subtle recalibration in Jae-min's assessment of her. He had expected fear, hesitation, vulnerability. Instead, he had precision, awareness, and confidence. The balance of power, once so predictable, had begun to shift in subtle, undeniable ways. Throughout the day, Hannah moved carefully, interacting with the staff, observing Jae-min from a distance, noting his patterns. Every gesture, every pause, every glance was a piece of the puzzle she was assembling. She had come here for revenge, yes, but that revenge required patience, strategy, and precise timing. Impulsive action would ruin everything. Later, a small incident broke the relative calm. A minor argument between two staff members escalated into a confrontation, and Hannah stepped in quietly, asserting control with a calm authority that surprised even Jae-min. The argument dissolved immediately, the staff stepping back with a mix of awe and caution. You're very assertive, Jae-min said later, voice carrying a mix of amusement and approval. Most people would crumble under the pressure. I've learned to thrive under it, she replied, keeping her voice neutral, controlled. The mansion's shadows grew longer as night approached again. Hannah reflected briefly on her mission, the careful planning that had led her here, and the countless scenarios she had rehearsed in her mind. Every step of this journey had been deliberate, every risk calculated. And yet, the unpredictability of Jae-min, his instincts, his presence, kept her on edge in the most exhilarating way. At this pause, if you're enjoying the story, kindly drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Moments like these, where tension hangs in the balance and the characters' decisions ripple across the story, are what make narratives like this unforgettable. As night deepened, another subtle threat emerged. A hidden informant, one of the lower-ranked men in the mansion, had overheard sensitive information. Hannah noticed the shift immediately. The nervous glance, the stuttered movements, the way the man avoided eye contact with Jae-min. Her pulse quickened, not from fear but anticipation. This was the moment to assert dominance, to demonstrate that she was not only aware, but capable of neutralizing threats with precision and control. The confrontation was quiet, almost imperceptible. Hana approached the informant, her voice soft but carrying undeniable authority. "You should reconsider your choices," she said calmly. The man's face drained of color. The message was clear, and the reaction confirmed it. Control had shifted subtly, silently, yet powerfully. Later, as she returned to her quarters, Jae-min followed, moving silently behind her. Their proximity, the unspoken understanding, the mutual recognition of strength and capability. These were the threads weaving a complex, tense relationship. "Most would not survive the day you've had," Jae-min said quietly, almost as if testing her reaction. "I didn't come here to survive," she replied evenly. "I came to ensure that I control the terms." His eyes flickered, a mix of intrigue and challenge. Control, huh? The tension between them was electric, unspoken yet undeniable. Each move, each decision, each subtle word carried weight. Hana had survived the first night, asserted her influence during the day, and begun to manipulate the environment around her subtly. And Jae-min, dangerous, calculating, powerful, recognized that she was no ordinary bride. As the mansion settled into uneasy quiet for the night, Hana allowed herself a brief moment to reflect. Every glance, every whispered thought, every calculated move brought her closer to her ultimate goal. Revenge was not just about action. It was about strategy, precision, patience, and psychological dominance. And tonight, she had taken the first critical steps in asserting her place in a world ruled by fear, power, and deadly precision. 3. The mansion was quiet, but the silence was thick with anticipation. Hana moved through the dimly lit corridors, every step deliberate, her senses alert for the smallest sound. A shifted footstep, a hushed whisper, the creak of a floorboard. Jae-min was somewhere nearby, always observing, his presence like a shadow she could feel even when unseen. She had learned early that in a place like this, movement alone could signal either dominance or weakness, and she refused to appear vulnerable. A sudden clatter from the study made her pause. The sound was subtle but distinct. A stack of papers knocked to the floor. She slipped closer, crouching behind a heavy curtain, eyes scanning the room. One of the guards had dropped something, unaware that she was there. But even in this small misstep, Hana saw opportunity. Every mistake in this house was a thread she could pull, a lever she could use. "Who's there?" A voice called sharply from the doorway. Hana froze, holding her breath, letting the seconds stretch longer than they should. The guard stepped forward, his silhouette tense. Hana didn't move. She let him pass, silent, calculating. The moment passed, and she exhaled, a small smirk curling her lips. Control, even in shadows, was hers. Later, in the grand hall, Jae-min waited. He didn't speak immediately. His gaze swept over her, noting the calm precision in her movements, the way she carried herself as if she belonged here, not as a bride under his control, but as someone he could not easily predict or manipulate. "You are careful," he said finally, his voice measured. "Too careful. Most would make noise, betray themselves." "I've learned to move in silence," Hana replied, her tone calm, neutral, but carrying an undercurrent of defiance. "Noise invites mistakes, and mistakes are costly here." Jae-min's lips twitched at the corner, almost a smirk. "Wise," he murmured. "Dangerously wise for someone in your position." Her eyes didn't waver. "I intend to survive," she said simply. "And not just survive, I intend to control the terms when the time comes." The subtle tension between them was a dangerous game of chess, moves and countermoves hidden beneath polite conversation. Hana had learned to enjoy this game. Each observation, each small advantage, was a step closer to her ultimate goal. And Jae-min, though calm and lethal, seemed to recognize, if only subconsciously, that she was no ordinary pawn in his world. The next morning brought a new escalation. A shipment of weapons had arrived late, and one of Jae-min's men had mishandled the delivery, leaving the crates in a corridor where they could be noticed by outsiders. Hana spotted the mistake immediately. She moved swiftly, inspecting the crates, checking for damage, and correcting the misplacement before anyone noticed the lapse. Her actions were silent but precise, ensuring both the safety of the operation and her own growing reputation within the mansion. "You have a knack for this," Jae-min said later, appearing unexpectedly in the room. "You fix what others overlook." Hana met his gaze evenly. "Attention to detail is survival," she replied. He studied her for a moment, then nodded, almost imperceptibly. "Survival," he repeated. I see that you understand more than most who come here unprepared. The subtle praise felt different from the usual tension. It carried acknowledgement. Hana filed it mentally, but did not allow it to soften her resolve. She had to maintain focus. Respect in this house was earned, never given freely, and she had no intention of assuming it without continued effort. Hours later, an unexpected visitor arrived at the mansion, an outsider claiming to deliver sensitive information. The man was nervous, sweating under the weight of the mansion's gaze. Hana observed silently as he was escorted into the study, listening to the conversation from a distance. She noted the fear in his voice, the careful choice of words, and the way he avoided eye contact with Jae-min. Every detail was data, and every misstep by others was an opportunity to demonstrate control. A sudden sharp movement from the visitor caused a tense pause in the room. Hana's instincts screamed, and she reacted before anyone else noticed. She moved silently, positioning herself so that if any sudden violence erupted, she could intervene. The man's eyes widened when she appeared, calm and composed, as if she had emerged from the shadows by design. Jae-min's gaze flicked to her briefly, curiosity mingling with the tension. "You're everywhere," he observed quietly. "I move where needed," Hana replied, her tone controlled, measured. "Timing is everything." The visitor eventually left, shaken but unharmed, leaving a ripple of unease among the staff. Hana had subtly shifted the balance again, reminding everyone that she was aware, capable, and unpredictable. Later that evening, in the quiet of her room, Hana allowed herself a moment to think. The mansion was a chessboard, every staff member a piece, every visitor a variable. Her mission required patience and precision, and she was beginning to manipulate events with subtlety that even Jae-min had to acknowledge silently. She reflected on her father's warnings, the betrayal that had led her here, and the meticulous training that had prepared her for this exact scenario. The memory fueled her resolve, each recollection sharpening her focus. From the balcony, she observed the city below. Seoul stretched endlessly, lights twinkling like distant stars, indifferent to the deadly games unfolding in the mansion above. Hana's mind mapped potential threats, allies, and leverage points with uncanny clarity. Every step she had taken, every decision made quietly yet decisively, was laying the groundwork for what was to come. At this point, if you're enjoying the story, kindly drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Moments like these, where suspense and strategy intertwine, are what makes stories unforgettable, keeping viewers invested in every twist and turn. The night was far from over. A subtle disturbance in the servants' quarters alerted Hana. Footsteps, whispered voices, a nervous glance toward the central hall. Someone was plotting, or perhaps simply afraid. Either way, it presented another opportunity to assert control. She moved quietly, unseen, and intercepted the situation before it escalated. Calm authority replaced tension, and the staff withdrew, realizing the silent but undeniable influence she now wielded. Later, Jae-min appeared at her door. The flicker of candlelight cast long shadows across his face, accentuating the sharp angles and dangerous calm that made him so lethal. "You continue to impress," he said, his voice low, almost a challenge. "But remember, this is only the beginning. Surviving the night and controlling the day are not the same thing." Hana met his gaze evenly, unflinching. "I know," she said simply, "and I intend to master both." The unspoken tension between them was like a live wire, electric and dangerous. Every glance, every pause, every word carried weight. Hana had survived, asserted her influence, and subtly shifted the mansion's balance of power. And Jae-min, though dangerous and calculating, recognized, if only quietly, that she was no ordinary presence in his world. As she lay down that night, Hana allowed a brief smile. Every move, every observation, every calculated step had brought her closer to the ultimate goal. Revenge was not about haste. It was about precision, patience, and psychological dominance. And tonight, she had demonstrated all three in ways that would ripple through the mansion for days to come. 4. The next morning, Hana sensed the change immediately. Whispers floated through the mansion's corridors, subtle but charged with anxiety. Guards exchanged uneasy glances, and even some of Jae-min's closest allies appeared unsettled. Something had shifted overnight, though the exact cause was unclear. Hana's instincts, honed over years of survival, told her that someone had betrayed the rules of the house, or at least bent them dangerously close to breaking point. She moved cautiously, eyes sharp, mind calculating. Every detail mattered. The angle of a guard's glance, the slight hesitation in a servant's steps, the barely audible sighs that betrayed tension. Hana knew betrayal when she saw it, and tonight, she would uncover it. A sudden crash echoed from the lower halls, and Hana was instantly alert. She rushed toward the source, silent as a shadow, and found a young guard sprawled on the floor, the remnants of a shattered tray scattered around him. Panic flared in his eyes, but Hana remained calm. "You need to be more careful," she said evenly, crouching beside him. "Mistakes here are costly." The guard stammered an apology, but she was already scanning the room, noting the open window and the faint scent of smoke lingering near the curtains. Someone had been here, someone unauthorized. Hana's pulse quickened, not from fear, but from the thrill of discovery. This was the perfect moment to demonstrate dominance, to assert that she was aware, capable, and unstoppable. Jae-min arrived silently, stepping through the doorway with the lethal grace that had earned him fear and respect across Seoul. His eyes scanned the scene, noting Hana crouched near the guard, every movement precise and deliberate. "You were expecting this," he said quietly, almost a statement, almost a challenge. Hana looked up, calm and controlled. "I always anticipate the unexpected," she replied. A tense silence hung in the room, filled with unspoken calculations. Both understood the delicate balance. A wrong move, a misstep, and the outcome could be deadly. Yet neither backed down. Later, as Hana walked through the mansion's corridors, she discovered a hidden note tucked beneath a floorboard. A small slip of paper bearing a threat against her. The handwriting was jagged, desperate, filled with anger. She smiled faintly, reading it carefully, analyzing the message and its implications. Whoever had left it underestimated her. She folded the note and pocketed it. "This will work in my favor," she murmured to herself. In the dining hall, she confronted the staff subtly, using careful questions and indirect observations to probe for the source of the betrayal. The tension was electric. Staff members shifted uneasily under her gaze, realizing that she saw far more than she let on. And Jae-min watched, silently intrigued by the precision with which she maneuvered, noting her subtle but undeniable rise in influence. Hours later, Hana intercepted a message intended for Jae-min, a plan detailing an attempt to undermine his authority. She studied it carefully, a thrill coursing through her veins. She could have destroyed the messenger immediately, but strategy demanded patience. Control was not taken with brute force alone. It was seized with intelligence, timing, and precision. The day ended with another subtle escalation. A private meeting with Jae-min revealed the shifting dynamics. He was quiet, measured, his gaze sharp, reading her every move. "You're far from ordinary," he said finally, almost a statement of fact. "You've survived the first tests, handled disruptions, and asserted influence. Most people would have failed by now." "I thrive under pressure," Hana replied evenly, her tone calm but charged with unspoken strength. He tilted his head, evaluating her. "There's danger in that kind of capability," he murmured. "And yet, I can't look away." Hana's pulse remained steady. She understood fully the psychological game unfolding between them. Respect was beginning to form, subtle and reluctant, but acknowledgement in a house like this could be as lethal as any blade. As night fell again, Hana moved silently through the mansion, checking corridors, observing guards, and noting every detail that could be leveraged. Every shadow, every whisper, every tremor of fear or hesitation was valuable information. This night, she would gather intelligence, assert subtle dominance, and lay groundwork for the confrontation she had long prepared for. Suddenly, she heard a soft click, a lock turning somewhere nearby. She froze, breath held, as footsteps approached. From the shadows emerged a figure she hadn't anticipated. One of Jae-min's trusted allies, someone with access to sensitive areas. The betrayal was closer than she had realized. "You shouldn't have done that," Hana said quietly, stepping forward, voice calm but sharp. The man froze, eyes wide, realizing that she had uncovered his secret maneuver. Panic flashed across his face, but Hana didn't allow hesitation to weaken her control. Every move had consequences, and he was about to learn them firsthand. "You think you can undermine control without consequence?" she continued, her tone even but deadly in implication. "I see everything. I know everything. And I will act when the time is right." The man stammered, attempting to explain, but she silenced him with a glare. Control was hers in this moment. He was merely a piece in her unfolding plan. Later, Jae-min arrived unexpectedly, observing the scene. His eyes flicked between Hana and the man, noting her calm dominance. "Interesting," he murmured, almost to himself. "You handle challenges with precision. Hana met his gaze evenly. Survival is not enough, she said simply. Control is the only option. The tension between them was electric, layered with unspoken understanding and challenge. Hana had survived multiple escalations, uncovered betrayal, and subtly manipulated the environment to her advantage. Jae-min, formidable and dangerous, recognized the skill and precision she wielded. At this point, if you're enjoying the story, kindly drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Moments like these, where betrayal and strategy collide, are what keep viewers glued to the story, waiting to see what happens next. Later that night, Hana reflected on the day's events. Every observation, every action, every subtle maneuver had brought her closer to her goal. She understood the rules of this deadly house, and had begun to bend them to her advantage. Revenge was no longer just a plan. It was becoming reality, each calculated step taking her closer to ultimate control. As she lay down, the mansion's shadows seemed to whisper around her, the faint creak of the floors and distant footsteps a reminder that the game was far from over. Hana allowed herself a small, confident smile. The path ahead was treacherous, but she had proven already that she could navigate it with lethal precision. The storm didn't start with thunder. It started with silence. Hana noticed it first, the kind of silence that didn't belong in a place like this. No footsteps. No hushed conversations. Even the guards, usually rigid and alert, seemed off. Too still. Too careful. Something was about to happen. She stood at the edge of the grand staircase, her fingers lightly resting on the polished railing, eyes scanning the hall below. Her instincts weren't just whispering anymore. They were screaming. This is it, she thought. Something big. Then the lights flickered. Once. Twice. And then darkness swallowed the mansion. A sharp gasp echoed somewhere in the distance, followed by the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. Hana didn't move immediately. Panic was contagious, and she refused to let it touch her. Instead, she listened. A footstep. Another. Fast. Careless. Not trained. Intruder. Hana moved. Silent. Controlled. Precise. She slipped down the stairs, her eyes already adjusting to the darkness. The faint emergency lights kicked in, casting dim red shadows across the walls. It was enough. She spotted movement near the east corridor. Two figures, whispering urgently. Did you get it? No, someone's still inside. Hana didn't wait. She closed the distance in seconds, grabbing the first man's arm and twisting it sharply. A muffled cry escaped him as she forced him to the ground. The second man turned, startled, reaching for something. Too slow. Hana kicked his wrist, sending the weapon skidding across the floor. Who sent you? She asked, her voice calm, almost too calm. The man on the ground struggled, breathing hard. You don't understand. You're right, she cut in, tightening her grip slightly. I don't. So explain. Before he could answer, footsteps approached, measured, familiar. Jae-min. Even in the dim red light, his presence was unmistakable. He took in the scene in a single glance, the restrained intruders, Hana standing over them, completely in control. You work fast, he said quietly. Hana didn't look at him. They're not professionals, she replied. Too sloppy. Too loud. Jae-min stepped closer, crouching slightly near one of the men. Who sent you? He asked, his tone colder now. The man hesitated. That was his mistake. Jae-min didn't repeat himself. The silence that followed was heavy, final. The second intruder broke almost instantly, fear overtaking whatever loyalty he had. It was an inside job, he blurted. Someone from here, someone high up. Hana's eyes narrowed slightly. She had suspected it, but hearing it confirmed changed everything. Jae-min stood slowly, his expression unreadable. But something had shifted. Something darker. Take them away, he ordered. Guards appeared almost immediately, dragging the intruders out. The mansion was no longer quiet. It was awake. Alert. Dangerous. Hana finally turned to face him. You already suspected, she said. It wasn't a question. Jae-min's gaze met hers. Suspicion isn't proof. And now you have proof. A pause. Then he said something that changed everything. Not yet. Hana frowned slightly. What do you mean? He stepped closer, his voice dropping just enough to make it feel personal. What we have is noise. Fear. Desperation. But not the truth. Her mind raced instantly. He was right. This was bigger than just a break-in. This was layered. Planned. Then we let it play out, she said quietly. Jae-min studied her for a moment. Then slowly he nodded. That was the first time they had truly agreed on something. Not as enemies, not as strangers, but as two people playing the same dangerous game. The following hours were tense. The mansion was locked down completely. No one in, no one out. Hana walked through the corridors like she owned them, her presence now impossible to ignore. The staff didn't just respect her anymore. They feared her, and she needed that. Fear created control. Control created opportunity. In the main hall, a quiet meeting was already underway. Jae-min stood at the center, his most trusted men surrounding him. Hana entered without hesitation. Some of them shifted uncomfortably. Good. Say it, Jae-min said, his voice cutting through the silence. One of the men stepped forward. There's been unusual activity in the West Wing. Restricted access logs altered. Hana's mind clicked instantly. West Wing. That wasn't random. That was strategic. Who has access? She asked. The man hesitated. Jae-min answered instead. Only a few. Hana's eyes met his. They both knew what that meant. This wasn't just betrayal. This was someone close. Very close. Later that night, Hana stood alone in the West Wing. The air here felt different. Heavier. Like secrets had been buried into the walls themselves. She moved slowly, scanning everything. Then she saw it. A door slightly ajar. That shouldn't be possible. Not here. Not now. Her pulse steadied, not quickened. She pushed the door open. Inside, a dimly lit office. Files scattered. A laptop still open. Someone had left in a hurry. Hana stepped in, her eyes moving quickly. Names. Transactions. Dates. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Then she froze. One name stood out. Not just any name. A name that made everything click into place. Her expression didn't change. But inside, everything shifted. Of course, she thought. It was never random. It was never chaos. It was planned. And now, she finally understood the game. Footsteps echoed behind her. She didn't turn immediately. She already knew who it was. You found something, Jae-min said. Hana closed the laptop slowly. Then she turned. Yes. A pause. You're not going to like it. His gaze sharpened. Say it. Hana held his eyes. And then, she dropped the truth. It's someone you trust. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Jae-min didn't react immediately. But the air changed. You're sure? He asked. Hana nodded once. I don't guess. Another pause. Then he let out a quiet breath. Not shock. Not denial. Something colder. Good, he said. Hana blinked slightly. That wasn't the reaction she expected. Good, she repeated. His eyes locked onto hers. Because now I know where to look. That was the moment Hana realized something even more dangerous. Jae-min wasn't just reacting to betrayal. He had been waiting for it. If you're enjoying this story, kindly like, drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. The tension that followed was suffocating. Not loud, not chaotic, but controlled. Like a storm being held back on purpose. Hana walked back to her room, her mind racing. Everything was accelerating now. The layers, the lies, the hidden alliances. They were all starting to unravel. And at the center of it all was Jae-min. And now she had a choice. Continue playing quietly, or take control completely. She stopped mid-step. No, she thought. I didn't come this far to stay in the shadows. Her decision was made. Tomorrow, everything changes. The next morning, the mansion felt different. Not tense, not fearful, but expectant. Like everyone could feel it. Something was coming. Hana stepped into the main hall. Jae-min was already there. Waiting. Their eyes met. No words. None needed. The game had changed. And now, they were both ready to play it fully. The tension didn't explode. It tightened, like a wire pulled to its absolute limit. Hana walked into the main hall, her steps steady, her expression calm. But inside, everything was aligned. Every piece of information, every observation, every calculated move. Today wasn't about reacting. It was about ending it. Jae-min stood at the center of the room, his presence commanding as always. But there was something different now. A quiet readiness. Like he had already accepted what was coming. Around him stood his inner circle. The ones with access. The ones with power. The ones with secrets. Hana's gaze moved across them slowly. Measuring. Waiting. Then she spoke. Lock the doors. The command cut through the room. No one moved at first. Then Jae-min nodded once. The doors shut. Now there was no escape. A ripple of unease spread across the room. Someone here betrayed you, Hana said calmly. Eyes shifted. Tension rose. No one spoke. She took a step forward. You planned carefully, she continued, her eyes now fixed on one man. You altered logs, moved resources, used fear to cover your tracks. The man stiffened slightly, almost unnoticeable. But Hana saw it. She always did. You underestimated one thing, she said quietly. Now the room was completely still. Me. Silence. Then, a slow clap. Everyone turned. The man stepped forward. Calm. Smiling. Too calm. You're impressive, he said. Truly. Jae-min's gaze hardened. Explain, he said. The man sighed lightly as if bored. It was never about you, he said to Jae-min. It was about control. You built something powerful, but predictable. His eyes shifted to Hana. But her, he added. She changed the equation. Hana didn't react. Why? Jae-min asked, his voice low, dangerous. The man chuckled. Because power like yours always falls. I just wanted to be the one waiting when it did. The room felt colder. He's not working alone, Hana said suddenly. The man's smile faltered. Just for a second. But that was enough. Jae-min noticed. So there's more, he said quietly. Hana stepped closer, her voice sharp now. There's always more. People like him don't move without backup. The man's calm began to crack. You should have stayed quiet, he snapped. Hana tilted her head slightly. And let you win, she replied. That was never an option. The shift was instant. The man moved. Fast. Too fast for most. But not for Hana. She anticipated it. Sidestepped. Redirected. His attack failed before it even began. Guards rushed forward, restraining him. The room erupted into controlled chaos. But at the center of it, Hana stood still. Unshaken. In control. Jae-min watched her closely. Not with curiosity anymore. With certainty. Minutes later, the room cleared. The traitor was gone. The immediate threat neutralized. But the air still felt heavy. Unfinished. Jae-min stood near the window, his back to the room. You knew, he said quietly. Hana didn't deny it. I suspected, she replied. He turned slowly. That's not the same thing. Her eyes met his. I didn't need certainty, she said. I needed timing. A pause. Then, he nodded. Not as a test. Not as a challenge. As acknowledgement. You've changed things here, he said. Hana didn't respond immediately. Because she knew. This was the moment. The real moment. Not the betrayal. Not the attack. This. I didn't come here to change things, she said finally. His gaze sharpened. I came here for a reason. Silence. Heavy. What reason? He asked. Hana stepped closer. No hesitation now. No masks. No games. Your organization, she said, her voice steady, destroyed my family. The words landed like a shockwave. For the first time, Jae-min's expression changed. Not dramatically, but enough. When I was younger, she continued, everything I had disappeared overnight. And your name was behind it. The room felt smaller, tighter, more dangerous. You married me for revenge, he said. Not a question. A realization. Yes. No hesitation. No regret. Just truth. Jae-min exhaled slowly. Not angry. Not defensive. Thinking. You had chances, he said. To act. I still do, she replied. Their eyes locked. This was it. The final edge. Trust. Betrayal. Power. Everything balanced on one decision. Jae-min stepped closer. Close enough now. You're not what I expected, he said quietly. Hana's expression didn't change. Neither are you. Another pause. Then he said something neither of them expected. Then finish it. Silence. Complete. What? Hana asked. If revenge is what you came for, he said, his voice steady, then take it. No fear. No resistance. Just acceptance. Hana studied him carefully. Searching. Analyzing. This wasn't a trap. It was real. And that made it harder. Because revenge was simple in theory, but complicated in reality. Her mind flashed through everything. The past. The pain. The plan. And then, the present. Everything she had built. Everything she had changed. Everything she now controlled. Slowly, she stepped back. No. Jae-min's eyes narrowed slightly. No, he repeated. I didn't come here just to destroy, she said. I came to take control. The shift was undeniable. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was evolution. If I end you, she continued, everything collapses. Chaos. Power struggles. More destruction. A pause. But if I stay, she held his gaze. I control what happens next. The weight of her words settled in. Jae-min watched her. Long. Carefully. Then, a faint smile. Not mocking. Not cold. Respect. Then stay, he said. Weeks later, the mansion felt different. Not quieter. Not softer. Stronger. More controlled. Hana walked through the halls, no longer observed. But followed. Respected. Feared. Jae-min stood beside her now. Not above. Not ahead. Beside. The balance had changed. Completely. And this time, she held it. If you enjoyed this story, kindly drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. That night, standing on the balcony overlooking the city, Hana allowed herself a rare moment of stillness. The lights stretched endlessly before her. The same city. The same world. But everything had changed. She didn't just survive it. She didn't just get revenge. She rewrote the outcome. And as the wind brushed past her, calm and steady, one thought settled clearly in her mind. This was only the beginning.